Do you know who the person who, if they started a GoFundMe, absolutely no one would donate?
Several people.
Well, let's call this one Dave Meltzer.
I knew it. I knew it.
So, Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer newsletter writer, prolific, effluvia spilling out from his pen or typewriter or keyboard over the decades. Anyway, he wrote something in the newsletter about you and the GoFundMe. Have you read this in full?
Some of it.
Why don't I read it
I,
all?
I haven't read it in full.
Well, not the newsletter, but the bit pertaining to you.
I read what you posted.
Okay, that's enough. So I'm going to read it here now, and I'm sure it'll come up on the screen soon enough. So essentially, Meltzer writes, you and your wife weren't doing well. There was a GoFundMe out. I'll quote this here. They had raised $64,200 with most of care, full stop. And then, just aside from the fact that he's already spelled your name wrong, and then he's just inserted a sentence, he then goes to, they had raised $64,200 with most of the top donors being anonymous. And the largest known donors were Tony Khan, $5,000, and Chris Jericho at $1,500. No mention of many anonymous people, no mention of Jim Cornette, who donated $5,000, that kind of thing. No mention of the anonymous person who donated $5,500. So that being said, with Khan, many have pointed out that Mantell as a podcaster was brutal to Khan, even being critical of him when the promotion was at its peak popularity, or popularity peak, and recently criticised him for the contract terms Swerve Strickland got on his recent deal. It is something when a former wrestler gets mad at a promoter who clearly can afford it for what he pays the top talent, and he was doing it after he knew the new deal was put together that was going to make the company exceedingly profitable. Wrestlers using the old school he doesn't draw money and not understanding that this isn't a mom and pop week-to-week business based on live event numbers, but one that is, in a worst-case scenario year, would generate $250 million next year, and that most of that revenue is guaranteed ahead of time. It's difficult reading that out loud because it never scans well. So basically, what he's done is, and I've said this on a video on WSI as well that a lot of people watch. Basically, Meltzer has turned the milk of human kindness of 2,000 people donating and basically turned it into a hit piece on you because you have been critical about AEW booking in the past.
Well, I try not to give anything Dave Meltzer writes any believability or credence. But that kind of pissed me off because all of a sudden, I think this speaks more of Tony Khan's humanity than it says anything about me. Even though, yeah, I have been critical of him, but isn't that my job to go on here and talk about the business? And yes, I have said that he needs more story, and he just doesn't need to put matches together and have them go 15 minutes for no apparent reason other than they're going to have a good match. I mean, I've seen acrobatics and I've seen gymnastics. I've seen the greatest moves in the world. Everybody has, if you watch enough wrestling on TV. But tell me a story. So I'm doing my job, but he's saying, oh, I blasted him. And I think it says much more about Tony Khan than it does about me, really. Because it's like, how many people has Dave Meltzer knocked?
Well,
So anyway,
you
if
just
somebody,
then at your lowest point.
no kidding, and you can knock me, Dave. I mean, but you're knocking my family now, and that is a no almost in any business. I almost died. My wife almost died, but yet you, to make a point that you don't like me, you got to come out and you got to blast me for that. So yes, I did say not flattering things about Tony Khan, but Meltzer, you've done a lot worse because you've had your thing going a lot longer than I have, and I was just basically doing my job. So he pisses me off. I can't quite get my thoughts together, and
Well,
I'm still recovering from what he said. I would like to walk up on him. I can't now. I'm too old now. But I would just like to walk up on Meltzer and just slap the dog shit out of him. Really, because some things deserve a good hard slapping, not a punch, but a slapping. And I've read some of Meltzer's stuff. Yeah, I could knock that too. But and I've always said he is a good writer. He's a prolific writer, but he just writes too much. And he goes on and on and on and on. So I don't even know why people even pay attention to him anymore. But I don't even know why he had to get that in there, unless you said he had a score to settle with me. And why was that score? And you're right. You're on your analysis of it. Yeah, he's pissed at me. And he's been pissed for like 5 years.
Yeah, okay, so so we've talked about this before. Is this purely over a disagreement over how many people were at an event in Memphis back in the day? Or am I reading something else out of it?
No, he was printing a bunch of misinformation. And when I tried to correct him, he wasn't going to do that. I did this on Twitter when it was still Twitter. And all of a sudden, I blasted him a couple of times on there, and people were reading it, and he just blocked me out of the clear blue, and I've never heard another word from him. Now, that's a chicken shit way to do. If he wants to defend himself, defend yourself, Dave. But he said, I think he told somebody he was clogging up my Twitter, and he was doing this, and he was doing no. I was telling the truth, and you didn't want people to know it, Dave. I've left it alone for now, but I wish I still had that thread, but I don't anymore.
That being said, my video that I did a couple of days ago has done 125,000 views, right? Something like that. And there's no way he can't know about it. There's no way that he can't. Here's the thing. I don't think he will ever reference it. Because like when he posted on a Wrestling Observer bulletin board forum, this like screenshot of an Excel spreadsheet of AEW's expenses of 2023 or whatever it was. And it was just something that somebody made up, and then without checking anyone, Meltzer posted it as real and then started analyzing it. He even had the word guess, the actual word guess on it, and he still thought it was red. And the point was that he's never acknowledged that because there's no defending it, but he won't come out and apologize. And I think it's the same with this. He probably won't ever reference this, that he's written this bullshit about you and tried to bring it back to AEW because he's fucking obsessed. Because he can't defend it. Because it just makes him look like the dickhead that he is. It's as simple as that. Now, sorry, Dutch.
You call him a dickhead?
No, he's an absolute raging dickhead. And I don't know why. Because he's just this condescending fucking shit that he writes all the time to Twitter. I was like, reading is your friend. Yeah, reading is your friend. Well, reading what you wrote, Dave, and that has fucking cost me a few IQ points. It was so badly written and so unbelievably just fucking poorly thought out just to settle a score with Dutch. Anyway, let me just also read a couple of things. One, okay, a couple of times we made fun of Tony Khan, but like when he's got bug eyes and he's looking around constantly, and he's not very good at the news, the post-show scrums, your favorite word.
But that's not a knock. I would have said, he was sitting there like that.
I'd say that to you if you were doing that.
Yes.
It's like, man, you look like you had bug eyes and didn't know what you were doing out there.
No kidding. No kidding. I've said this about Tony Khan. The first time I met him, Jacksonville, Florida, he came up and introduced himself to me. I didn't know him from Adam's House Cat. But he came up and he introduced himself, and I found out about him. Very, very nice man. Very nice guy. And I could tell by the way he was talking, he was a wrestling lover. He loved wrestling because I was still with WWE at the time. And he's from Jacksonville, so, he didn't have to make a long trip to come over there. And I talked to him about 15 or 20 minutes. And he was asking me about wrestling and he said he wanted to get into it then. Of course, you hear that a lot of times, but I didn't even know who he was until I went back and I said, hey, who is that? Who is that guy? And somebody told me who he was. And I remember he wanted to talk to Arn Anderson too. And he ended up, I said, Arn, a guy named Tony Khan out here, he wants to talk to you. And I think Arn had heard about him. And Arn went out there. Then I saw Arn talk to him for quite a while. But I had nothing but a positive impression of Tony Khan. And when he started the company, good for him. Now he can give some of these wrestlers, he can give them a job, give them a place to make some money, and he can see what he can do with it. But and some guys are good at booking, some guys aren't. Some guys are good at wrestling, some guys aren't. But I think what Tony, I think Tony, and I've heard this, how can Tony book 3 shows at one time? I don't know any booker who could do that and not suffer burnout.
And also help run the Jacksonville Jaguars and Fulham Football Club as well. So he's got 3 full-time jobs, really.
No,
no one has said that he's not incredibly hardworking. Everyone I've talked to said he's really nice, really generous. I said it in the other video. I'd love to shake his hand and say thank you for what he's done for you. And obviously, as I say, he's a wrestling fan at heart, as we all are. And a lot of the videos that we do criticising the booking or production or whatever, it's not just blind hatred of the product. It is there's always a lesson. There's always constructive criticism or an idea of how it could be done or where something could go from there.
You can hate the content, but not hate the creator. I mean, Dave throws all that in together because what he was saying was Tony Khan was an idiot for donating to somebody who had knocked him in the past. But I don't know.
But not him.
Dave,
the product, ultimately.
Yes.
Now
I wasn't knocking Tony ever.
Now that being said, he also says that you had mentioned that critical of AEW, the peak popularity, if I can say that, because that wasn't true, because we started talking about AEW as soon as Brawl Out happened and CM Punk left, and then popularity sort of went downwards from there because CM Punk had left, and then they didn't really capitalise on it. That being said, he also says a video recently criticising contract terms that Swerve Strickland got on his recent deal. And it's like, yeah, we did do that because he hadn't been booked very well and he wasn't a very strong champion, but then he'd been given a huge amount of money. And then he says, even though AEW had been given a massive new deal, and it's like, well, by the time we made that video, no deal for AEW had been announced whatsoever. So that's a complete lie. And then he then also says, wrestlers using the old school, he doesn't draw money, and not understanding that this isn't a mom and pop week to week business based on. Right, okay, so what? I won't reread it all, but all that Dave Meltzer has basically confirmed is that he doesn't think Swerve Strickland draws money either.
No.
So
basically that's what he's saying.
So all he's done is criticise Tony Khan, criticise you, unknowingly criticise Swerve Strickland for not being a drawer and getting overpaid or getting paid by someone who can afford to pay him a lot of money. He always has to bring it to AEW. Even, what was it, Nikki Bella, he posted not too long ago that she was a victim of DV, domestic abuse, and somehow he brought that back to AEW. Also, keep in mind that Dave Meltzer, the person who once wrote that a wrestler called, I think it's Shibata, had his brain removed and then put back in a couple of years ago. And it's like, maybe Dave Meltzer's had his fucking smooth brain removed, and they forgot to put it back in, and now he's just like, his body's just like some sort of just doing it automatically.
Well, I think he's totally off on a lot of the things he says. But if you call him out on it, it's like a personal attack on him. Listen, Dave, you call yourself a wrestling historian, I guess. But he doesn't give you the news. He gives you his opinion. Of course, the national news for years and years, on the national news, they've always given opinion too. So, but Dave beat them to that. So he wouldn't say this and this and this and this. He gave you his reasons behind it. And Dave had a sordid history in the wrestling business anyway. Because I've known him a long, long time, and I met him for the first time, I think, in Smoky Mountain days. And he wasn't very friendly because I don't think he's ever liked me anyway. And I've never liked him.
Unbiased news reporter decides that he hates somebody and then gives them unfavourable coverage while reviewing all the matches as well to his own tastes.
He's full of shit.
Yeah, you prick, dude. What can I say? He was all right when I interviewed him years ago, but I think he's gone absolutely... He's just... The cheese has slid off his cracker, Dutch.
He blamed podcasters for AEW not doing better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's our fault and Cornette's fault and Bischoff's fault for turning all the fans against them.
Cornette, he buries them. Bischoff buries them. But all of a sudden, he saves all his venom for me, the bastard. How can people see, if they haven't already seen, your interview or your message about Dave Meltzer? I highly advise watching this because James, he defended me and him, both of us. And if I ever was charged with murder, James, you would be my defense attorney.
You know, I actually did study law for a couple of years. That's weirdly why I started writing a book. When I wrote the Owen Hart book, I'd just done 2 years of study at law, and I can't remember anything legal whatsoever, except for the fact that when I was studying for a degree level, of course, is that it got me to writing, and it got me to putting stories together. And it's weirdly studying for a law degree that I dropped, set me up for writing books and creating a cogent argument. So in that sense, I think I'm actually pretty good at that. But if I had more time, I would have done that video better. I think it's still good, but I would have done it better.
No, I don't think you could have done it much better. But anyway, I highly advise watching this by James. Can you put it on the screen?
I'll tell you right now, WSI, Wrestling Shoot Interviews, and also on that YouTube channel, because that's been dormant for 3 months now. I've done the occasional video, that's about it, but it's been dormant for about 3 months. We're coming back with a bang this week, maybe this week. I think we're coming back with a bang with new interviews. We've got some big names out there coming as well, so look out for that.